Good morning. My name is Dr. Sam Hay, and I want to talk to you today about time management, procrastination, and goal setting. One of the most significant challenges of tertiary study is the less structured learning environment that the students face, particularly when compared to primary or high school study. And there's a lot of reasons for the decreased formal structure of tertiary level education. One of the main reasons is that the students expected to graduate with skills in organising their workload and managing their time for themselves rather than being guided by someone else, such as the teacher or lecturer. And another reason is that teaching and lectures only make up about 20 or 30% of the study time, and the students expected to organise the remaining 70 or 80% of study time so as they're able to prioritise the activities that they need to complete. And this is partly because in a work setting, when the student graduates, they're expected to be able to manage their time and manage themselves, to take on professional roles for themselves. And so, like many future work settings, students will also need to be able to organise their study time around the different commitments, even the life commitments that they have, such as not only work, but family, recreation, breaks, and other events that can come up. Thus, time management and goal setting and study organisation are particularly important. Overcoming procrastination is an essential skill that needs to be developed if the student is to succeed in their tertiary study. One of the key skills is planning. It's a key to time management, and it's essential to have well-organised planning skills so as you're able to cope with the challenges that might arise along the way. So planning skills can include setting up a timetable. Planning skills can include preparing early so that if alternative activities or tasks come up, the student's able to cope with them. And planning can also include the use of an annual or a semester or a weekly or daily planner in order to organise your tasks and times. Another key task is prioritising. It's helpful to make a list of the tasks that need to be done, and these can be ordered according to the date due, their importance, the resources available, and it's essential to be able to attend to the most urgent tasks first. You can use headings such as high priority, must do, or this has rewards to highlight the most critical tasks, and then other headings to highlight less essential, wish to do, jobs that are not so important. This can also help if you cross off the tasks when they're done, so as to encourage yourself that you've completed a certain number of tasks. One suggestion is that it's often an excellent strategy to tackle tasks as soon as you get them. Another is goal setting. It's helpful to write down long-term, medium, and short-term goals. And long-term goals can include the goal to graduate, the type of jobs you want, the satisfaction and salary that you'll get from these jobs, which may be 2 or 3 years away. Medium-term goals include the subjects that need to be completed and the subjects that are being studied in the current semester. And short-term goals include the essays, the exams, the tasks, and when they are due over the next few weeks, days, or months. It's useful to download a planner or a calendar and to mark in the college calendar dates and the due dates for your assignments and the other activities that are due on the calendar. And you can mark back from the calendar the number of weeks and days up until when things are due. Many students use a calendar that comes with a computer office program, and often it's useful to put down all of those activities there and to back up from these, and you can even print these out as well. But one of the difficulties that arises from this is the difficulty in visualising a number of months ahead. And so many students purchase a physical calendar from the newsagent or store so that they can place this out in front of them and see the relationship between different events that are due. Some place a calendar on the wall of their study so that they can easily see the weeks leading up to the due dates, and they look at these regularly and they mark in sometimes 1 week to go, 2 weeks to go, etc., in order to plan out the activities that are done leading up to an event. Sometimes you might have 2 or 3 assignments due in 1 week, and it can be helpful to plan out which ones you're going to tackle first, which ones later on. Sometimes it can be helpful to tackle the assignments that are number one priorities when your brain's a bit slower, to then take on other assignments in the afternoon when your brain slows down, in order to get a start on those as well. You can also place other important dates, such as work commitments, vacations, other functions that are on the calendar. And some like to write or shade in the different tasks in different colours to highlight and remind you of different tasks and when they're due. A calendar can also help to plan the time needed for other activities that are also important, such as exercise, sleep, and other tasks that you might be committed to. And it's important to prioritise the different tasks, in that we'd all love to volunteer and give all our time to many different activities, but that can take away from the long-term goals that you have. A calendar can also be used to allocate the time that you spend for study. And your study guide will often tell you that you need to put in about 10 hours of study per subject. And that's about 3 hours in class or online, and then another 2 or 3 hours reading for the class before is often very, very valuable, and then afterwards following up. And then you've got 3 or 4 or more hours to spend on your assignment, where your grade is going to be achieved. And it's important to ask yourself the question, am I a morning person or an evening person, and which is the best time to study? Some people will peak at different times. Some will be hours at night, some will be hours in the morning. And so as you begin to allocate time, you may write early, 5 or 6 in the morning, and be able to get in 3 or 4 hours study before 9 or 10. You may then complete further study during the morning, and then others will study through the afternoon and into the evening. You may also experiment with different study times, different places, different techniques, in order to see what are the places and approaches that are going to achieve the most. Some study best in a library or in other locations. Others find different places around their home to study. But one of the things to watch out for is time-wasting events and habits that can steal your study time and take away from the goals that you're seeking to achieve. You need to learn to be assertive and to say no to certain people or activities. And exam periods will often call for different time management approaches, so that you can put in the best time in the days leading up to when the exams are due, or when final assessments are due. You need to recognise also the need to take breaks, as well as the danger of breaks, in that they can break a flow of thought. You'll often find that it's important to take a break every 1 or 2 or so hours, but be careful not to lose the flow of ideas. So you could use the break to go for a walk, think about the activity you're working on, and you might even make some notes as you walk, or speak into a dictaphone or your phone and save some of those recordings. You might want to reward yourself as well for your efforts, and you need to find time for fun and relaxation so that you don't burn out. But you can't spend all your time on just fun and relaxation. A few other time management tips include spreading your workload. Look at when the assignments are due, and then begin to work on them early. Usually, you only have about 10 to 13 weeks of study to complete the assignments, and rather than wait until close to when they're due, or try to do 3 assignments in just 1 or 2 weeks, it can be helpful to begin as early as you can. And even in the first week or 2, it's good to begin background reading, take some notes, and get ready, and look for opportunities to do additional reading, such as travelling on a bus or as a passenger in the car. I don't think you can do it if you're driving the car. Instead of doing 4 subjects a semester, try 3 subjects. Pick up an extra subject during the summer break. Identify and use small amounts of free time. So set some time to review and edit your work. Many students suggest that 50% of their time should be spent reviewing and editing the work, as this is where you're going to often gain the most grades, where you show that you're in control and managing the ideas, rather than just gathering and collecting the ideas. Keep something handy at all times to write things down and capture valuable thoughts that you might have. Spend a few minutes writing up a plan for the assignments and break down the various tasks and list the tasks involved in order of priorities, such as gaining an understanding of the assignment task before you start, checking with the lecturer, are you on the right track? Is the right topic? Are you approaching it in the best way? Gathering information, reviewing the information, note-taking, checking the notes, and then editing and evaluating and reworking what you've written. Most importantly, in today's lesson, we also want to consider some of the causes of procrastination and the ways these can be overcome. So procrastination is where you're not starting something or you're putting it off. And often, if you fall into this trap, it'll just get harder and harder. People often give different reasons for procrastination, and some fear that they don't fully understand the topic at the beginning. And this is natural. It's not unusual to feel a little bit nervous about not fully understanding the topic, because if you've not studied it or approached it, then it's logical that you won't fully understand what's going on until you get a few days into the reading and study of the particular essay topic that you're working on. Some may feel the task is too big. And again, this can be natural. If you look at a huge 2,000 word assignment, that is a big task. But if you break it down into gathering some information for the first page or two, and then sorting that information into paragraph sections, and then reworking your information, then these much smaller tasks will be a lot easier to accomplish. Start work on gathering the information and preparing the rough draft, and eventually the other pieces will fall into place. Other procrastination can be due to distractions, and you may need to take changes to the environment around you in order to reduce those distractions. Some people find at home there's so many different things they could be doing that it's by going to a library or a different location that they're able to accomplish a lot more and achieve the goals they're setting out to achieve. Talking to a teacher or a counsellor can also help a person to set deadlines, or you may have a friend or a colleague that you're able to share your goals with, and they can keep you accountable. And identify time wasters such as Netflix, television, Facebook, or parties, and you may need to take a break from these for a while in order to achieve your higher grades and goals. Avoid the temptation to check email messages when you're studying. Otherwise, these will take you off track from your study. And watch out, housework and housekeeping are important, but these too can take you away from your study. So when you feel worn out from one subject, realise that you may have brain space to try a different subject to re-stimulate your mind. You may be able to use the slowing down of momentum in one area to tackle another area, such as gathering information, or you might want to go for a walk to clear your mind, and then ideas can come to you at that time as well. So a couple of hours of thorough study, really going somewhere, can often be more effective than an entire day of just struggling and being worn out. So in this review that we've done today, you can see that there are a number of strategies that can help you in time management, avoiding and overcoming procrastination and setting goals. You might want to write down some of these goals now. You might want to write down some of the rewards that you'll eventually achieve, and you might want to make a note of some of the strategies that we've talked about, such as using a calendar and a timetable, such as ways of working out the days and weeks leading up to assignments, and ways that you can strategize to get more out of that time. I'm sure some of these approaches can be very, very helpful, and I and the other staff here are happy to help you further if you want to get in touch with us, because we all want you to achieve and to do the best that you can. Thank you.